Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Gang.
Good morning.
All right, we have the old school gang here, everybody. Good morning. It is Tuesday. It is the 20th day of the month of January in the year 2026. You're here on the HR Morning Show, your place for all things TA and HR all morning long. We're here every Tuesday. Follow us on purpleacornnetwork.com, LinkedIn, YouTube, podcast. We're over 2,000 followers. Let's make it 3,000 by the end of the month. I am Adam. She is Danielle. He is Joel. Welcome, everybody. How we doing?
Good, man.
Great.
Good to see that Joel woke up. Danielle's on the third Nespresso pod. I am feeling good. I'm going no hat today, no headphones, trying something new.
Looking
new pause,
great.
new year, new me.
Yeah, what's your did you make any resolutions or decisions that you've given up on?
Yeah, I've given up on the past. I've given up on dwelling on the past. Yes, that's what I'm focused on the future.
Did you make any? Are you like a goal setter? Are you a resolution maker?
No, it's more just the one thing I am trying to do, is so cliche, is health and wellness. And my friend is going to drag my ass to the gym first thing next Monday morning to start my health and wellness routine.
What's first thing?
Well, I got to wait for the cleaning people to come, so it's gonna be like 9 a.m. Yeah.
Whoa, man, that's first thing.
That's way too early.
It is first thing. It's first thing for us. But first things first. What's happening over here? We have so many things to talk about. We have
so much.
Some great guests coming today. We have the circuit tour about to start on the TAHR circuit tour. Joel and I will be out in San Diego.
In the circus tour?
Going from Madrid to San Diego. It's gonna.
You going direct?
No, I'm
going home.
Yeah, I'm going home for the weekend.
No, what's happening in Madrid? You going to
Madrid? Shout out to Kumunda, working with them, filling some of their sales positions, and they got a company kickoff in Madrid.
Nice.
So, going to be capturing some footage.
That's cool.
Excited.
So
yeah,
fun.
Man.
International Joel back on the road.
Hopefully the passport works.
Well, that's an important thing. We had a passport issue with my daughter that we're dealing with this morning. But the post office, when the lady there did the money order, she was $3 short, so they didn't put expedited on it. And my daughter's traveling, and my wife had to call today and handle it. So that was fun. Thank you, post office.
Always the most fun. I go to the post office just to have fun.
They are so big in the rules. Like, my wife's gotten into it with them before, where they're like, "Hey,
it's a government."
It's like they just follow the rules. She's like, "Can you just send this?" No, it's got to be sealed in a certain way.
That's why those stores, I don't know if you guys have them, Joel, where you are, but they have like these stores that aren't the post office, but they're
like the UPS store?
It's like a grocery store or whatever.
Sort of, yeah, but off-brand UPS store.
Oh, yeah.
Or FedEx.
It's called a bodega.
We don't have those in. It's all official here in nowhere land.
How boring.
Anybody watch the national championship game last night, the college Super Bowl? Let's talk about Indiana, who last year and the year before and 100 years before that were the worst football team ever. But I'd like to congratulate the alumni at Indiana, especially Mark Cuban, for their win. They bought a team. Joel? Is that your take on this? Did they buy the team?
I do not follow or care.
Well, I went to a bar last night and watched the game. I know.
How'd that work out for you?
Kind of crazy. It was actually really great and fun.
Gen Z drinks?
I forgot how nice it is to just go out with a group of people.
Me and Adam are like, yeah, we never do that.
No, never. It's nice, right, to be socialized. I gotta tell you, we are getting back to being back together, and I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see it, in real life, social life,
to a certain degree. Because I did. Did you see that post I did? I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago on. I
unfollowed you.
It was a classic one of like, what type of work environment do you like? Fully remote, in the office, or hybrid? And there's a lot of I think 5,000 respondents, and it's the same as it's always been the last 2-3 years. 2/3 of people want to work from.
Well, that's what they want.
Remotely.
Yeah.
But I it's funny though. But as in the trenches recruiter too, I recruit for a lot of companies that are hybrid or on site right now, especially in the New York area or in San Fran. So many candidates have no problem with it. They want to get back to an office.
Want a job too.
Well, not only that, but I'm talking to passive candidates too, and people are missing it. They do, but they want the flexibility. No one wants. They want the flexibility is a key. People don't mind 3 days if the commute's not bad. They really don't. Even out here in the burbs in Long Island, I'm telling you, people are like, I don't mind. I talk to a lot of friends, my age bracket, and they're like, you know what? I can't sit in my house 5 days a week, but
Yeah,
if I can go into the city a
not
couple
bad.
days a week, I make a dinner afterwards. I go for lunch in the city. It's a change of scenery, and some people are
Well, no,
more productive in an office because they don't have. Not everyone has a 6-bedroom house in the burbs where they have places for it, and they want to. They need a place where they could be productive. It's a
Well, yeah.
bias. It's called house bias. There's a huge house bias going on today with that argument, Joel.
I would say it depends on the type of job, and it depends on the person. But without a doubt, I think being able to just give people flexibility and just the ability to choose. Like, I think there's just sometimes where you just got things going on. Maybe your kids are sick, you're sick. Maybe there's like errands you can run. Like, I just think allowing people some
You're gonna
sort
go get
of
your dry cleaning on my time, Joel.
yeah. But that's the thing is like then on my time where I would maybe be just spending the evening watching Netflix or doing whatever I do. Maybe I choose to work that.
Or respond to an email. Hey.
Output and outcomes over hours. It comes down to choice,
Results,
trust, and
bro.
flexibility.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
But there
Results.
is limited there's limited trust I've found in corporate. There's a lot of top-down commando style leadership that just
It's-
wants to see butts and seats. Like it really is true. It's less
Yeah.
about are you getting the work done? It's more about can I watch you? Like
I got an interesting one too. So we were out for dinner on Saturday. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but with a buddy who's a managing director over at JP Morgan here in the city. We're talking about their new $1 billion building, and he's like, it's not just the fact that the building is gorgeous and has all the amenities of it, but they it is part of that too. They made it a place that you want to come. All the food, all the people like that kind of stuff too. But something interesting, as a managing director, I was like, "Oh, did you get a nice fancy corner office?" He said, "No. What they did was they put all the executives in the middle." Of in the bullpen for a couple of reasons. One, because half the time they're out on the road doing business development, and they wanted to give the younger folks more of a reason and incentive to be in the office with the better offices and the better views. I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, that is. I never even would have thought of that 20 years ago. But these are the type of things from a psychological standpoint they're doing to make it more enjoyable to be in an office.
it's smart. Yeah.
It's good.
For
I mean,
sure.
that's you got to make it somewhere that people want to go, and I think we are getting to a point, though. I agree where I think more people are open to it, but again, it's like the choice, making it a place that people want to go. I think if you're just
Yeah.
super rigid but then you're gonna have problems even if you're remote, right? Like if you're super a super crazy micromanager, you're gonna do that for people remotely.
It's
and
a
that's gonna-
it's a
On Slack
completely
all
different way to
day, all
work.
night,
Like
all weekend.
it's a different style of leadership completely. But what I will say is I've always been in the camp of I believe that people deserve to discover how they work best and work in that manner or something along the lines of that manner. So my stance on this hasn't changed. And I will tell you, I have a lot of friends who come up to me and they're like, what do you think about this whole remote versus in-person work? And I'm like, it's my stance, middle of the ground. I know it's like it's more sexy to have an opinion one way or another, but it's when it comes down to it, Joel, you do a poll, probably it
Joel's
was
polls.
similar results. Yeah, Joel's polls will show the research suggests that, the preferences have not changed drastically.
Well, we want to know what you think. Just jump into the comments here. Let's
Get in
keep
the
this
chat.
show
Get in the
lively.
chat.
Get in the chat. Get in the chat there. Let's keep this show moving. We have a sponsor coming up. Oh, yeah. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but my calendar is a freaking disaster. I look at it sometimes and I'm like, when am I going to eat? When am I going to go to the bathroom? It's back to back all day. It's a mess. It's just a solid wall of blue blocks. I don't even know when I'm going to breathe. And most scheduling apps make this worse by letting people book you to oblivion. Well, guess what? There's a new solution out there. It's called calendarpa.com, and it's going to solve a lot of problems. I mean, even like things like mental health. We think about the calendar, and it's stressful. One of the first things I do every morning is I look at my calendar just to get a sense of what the day has in store. And I'm like, oh, but then I see those open spaces. I'm like, those are my work times. So mental health first, right? How to prioritize having those blocks for you just to think, to predefine, this is when I'm going to eat. It protects you and it gives you that time back. So if you guys are done with all the other ones out there, if you're done with people just putting time on when you don't want it, check out calendarpa.com. Tell them Paz sent you. It's awesome. Check it out. gonna talk about the first one. A study finds that 6 in 10 companies
Survey.
make AI
It was
the
a
scapegoat for
survey.
late survey. So first and foremost, anytime you're looking at these surveys, you got to check the source of them and see where they're coming from. So they surveyed 1,000 hiring managers. I don't know if that's a large enough sample set. I also don't know what companies or sectors these are coming from. But the stat is there. A survey of 1,000 hiring managers found that 59% admit that they emphasize AI when they must explain hiring. So basically, 60% are saying that you're getting fired because AI took your job. Is this what you're reading here, guys?
I mean, it's the easy go-to right now, right? AI and automation. It's the way, but I think there's macroeconomic situations that are probably causing more layoffs than anything else, right? And uncertainty. There's so much uncertainty, which maybe you could argue that AI and automation are causing some uncertainty, but
For sure.
I'd say it's probably more to do with you know, tariffs and things like that that people are still worried about.
I will say, I think part of the amount of roles that are going live is probably cut to some degree. I'm not going to say in half, but I do know that in tech, at least, 50% of the entry level jobs were cut in 2024 alone. So, it's a reason why there wouldn't be more positions open, but it's not necessarily a reason as much why you would get laid off.
My whole thing is if you're cutting 50% of the entry level jobs, does that mean that middle management is picking up the slack on the lower level responsibilities, or who is delegating and managing the AI functionality? And are those folks in middle management upskilled, uptrained to actually utilize the technology to handle the workload that's being replaced by AI from the lower level employees?
Probably no.
Ah,
Probably
that's why you
no.
need calendar PA. Yeah.
Exactly.
I've also been thinking about just like what is the work that people are doing, and I think I've been I don't know where I saw it, but somewhere on the internet of things.
Interwebs.
Um, I maybe it was just on Instagram, like a made up AI, one of those AI kind of posts that you see, but
Hmm.
someone had made the comment about how like there just isn't like a lot of real work being done, and I was thinking about this, like
Like,
an
what's the
internal
work?
PowerPoint. Like people spend hours
Yeah.
putting together PowerPoints to present. Now you could just do that in minutes. So I just think a lot of like the
But the
erroneous
quality is
work
going
that
down
people,
also, though.
yeah,
The
but it's
thought
like
behind it, the mindset.
what's the quality of a PowerPoint that's presented internally about something that's just a regurgitation of a bunch of data, and things like that. So I
Repurpose.
think and then you go like, okay, for a client meeting, it's got to be quality 100%. For marketing 100%, right, where you're trying to deliver sales. But for like internal meetings or
Yeah.
those types of things, and I just think a lot of the
Recaps,
work.
reviews, garbage.
Exactly. But people were spending hours and hours of time doing that type of stuff, right? Or like, within HR, like a lot of it is like helping out employees with questions on benefits or questions on a handbook. Now a lot of that can just be
Well, that's
automated.
interesting, right? So
I
you're saying
agree.
that lower level HR, not TA, but lower level HR jobs that used to be like a benefits coordinator can now be replaced by a chatbot, by an AI. Like that is a use case that I see. And sorry for that, but how are you going to hire and onboard the new wave of HR leaders and
Yeah.
executives if they have no entry point into the career?
It's a good question. I think a lot of companies are trying to figure that out, to be honest with you. But I also
Personally,
think then, oh, go ahead.
I'm just a big fan of apprenticeships and I think that Europe does this
Unpaid
really well.
apprenticeships.
Well, no, a lot of them are paid.
No,
A lot of
no,
them are paid.
I'm just kidding.
But like, yeah, I think that there's a huge benefit. Also, like co-ops, I think that's kind of the best alternative we have here in the States, where you can actually get, not just an internship, like a 2-month experience, but really 6 months on the job, 5 to 6 months, where you're working alongside people who do this full time and you actually get the experience of working in that role in that function for longer than a blink of an eye. So that's more of what I want to see, more opportunities for those types of positions and those types of, even like the way that we learn, I think is very flawed.
Right.
Only allowing, internships to happen, that's insane. 2 months, like you don't learn anything. You don't become valuable. You don't
Yeah, you don't even
really,
come
you don't get
onboarded
the
in it.
chance to prove yourself. Like and a lot of the function of what an intern would do is now automated by AI. So I think it's much harder to figure out what an entry level person would do, but it's no less important to find those, those onboarding, those on ramps to get people into a position eventually, because those
Agree.
managers are going to graduate, those entry level people are going to move up or move out. So it's
Well, I
got to
think the
figure
AI,
this shit
yeah, I
out.
think the AI techniques should be just distributed better across an organization, and obviously they're going to try to target at the early stages first, but then we're going to have a deluge, and then just a huge gap of entry level versus mid managers. It's a scary place. Speaking of cuts, let's check out the second article here. Let's go to that production truck, Joel.
Meta cuts more than 1,000 in Bay Area techs first. Big layoff of 2026. We're talking about Reality Labs, the metaverse, $70
Didn't work
billion
out.
investment down the toilet.
Jeez.
Jobplop.com, jobplop.com. There we go.
I've been creating content long enough to be following like a lot of these news stories over the last 2 to 3 years. And I remember, I think it was Bill Gates who was like, the future is we're going to work in this metaverse and we're going to have these virtual offices that, and then it's like
Avatars of us in the workplace.
6 months later, let's pull
Us.
everybody back to the real office. Okay.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Let's return people to. I'm like, that goes against
Return
this
to metaverse.
metaverse thing you're building. Any surprises here with this? I mean, with the metaverse, what are your thoughts?
It sucks, and I'm surprised it's just adding more really good people out to the job market, right?
Better
Like,
than
continue-
30,000 people though, which has been the last couple of years. Like in January,
these
it was
are
like
these are
30,000,
these are
30,000.
1,000 high overpaid. I don't want to say overpaid, but high comp folks, and that's another big issue that we're facing too is recalibration of compensation. I mean, I see it on a day-to-day basis where folks have been laid off and they were at set compensation. It's really hard to have a conversation with somebody like, listen, I know this is what you told me what you're making there, what you're expecting, but this is what this company's paying. And it's a tough choice and it's a tough pill to swallow. And you can't blame the other company for having salary bands, right? Listen, we're a small mid-stage startup. This is Meta. Our salary bands are going to be different. And that's what makes it really, really tough. And it really threw off the whole calibration of compensation across certain roles and levels.
Well, like you said, it's a recalibration, right? That's going on when you have that many people on the market and then going through tough job searches. People are reading it. I think I would feel like a lot of. I mean, the question is like, are you devaluing yourself by taking less than you were making before, or are you just responding to a market? It's a job market. That's why I try to explain it. Supply and demand. Like if you're the only person interviewing for a job and that company went after you, you got some leverage. If you're one of 500 applicants and you're one of 10 people who are going through an interview process, you just don't have as much leverage. It's just not going to happen. So either you want the job or you don't. And I think I read something recently that a lot more people, I think going into 2026, like responding to things like inflation, a lot more people are taking the 9 to 5 and building a side hustle.
Yep.
And I think it was H&R Block on one of their commercials for taxes. Their whole kind of brand is around like people who are using their 9 to 5 to like build their dreams. And so I think with that type of mindset, that's kind of how you have to approach it, right? You're not getting paid enough. Build something on the side, content create, build a side hustle. I think more and more people are kind of going
TikTok shop, yeah,
or
TikTok
vice versa.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
wow.
But it's interesting where they're refocusing some of that energy and some of the people that were on that Reality Labs team, because they're going more towards wearables. I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but I've definitely seen an uptick in the amount of people who are trying wearables, who
Yeah.
have either the Meta glasses or like
Trying
the
edibles?
Oakley just did a collab with Meta, which I thought was really smart, like a play on this whole snow sports and all of that. I think that was really smart, especially gearing up for high season of skiing and
Winter
snowboarding.
Olympics.
But yeah, that too. I mean, I think that's super smart. I just wonder what the next direction is. What's that
The
like?
next direction is unwearables, where people try and
Unwearables.
Everyone's like
It's funny
disconnecting.
because it's like drinking, right? Drinking is kind of like it's kind of on its way out in some ways. Like people are just drinking less. Like it's just like that's from like a trend perspective. A lot of people are drinking less and those types of things. And
Especially
it's
Gen Z.
but tech, it's the
Didn't you go to
same
a
thing.
bar
Like
last night?
people are trying to, yeah,
I drank
exactly.
Diet Coke.
People are trying to
Loser.
disconnect. They're trying to disconnect from
I'm kidding.
social media and those types of things. So it's interesting that like the strategy is wearables, trying to get it more immersive. But I think there's a big there's going to be a tipping point.
Macroeconomics,
To me,
man.
it's unwearables and it's like these brick devices. I don't know if you've seen those where it's like
Yeah.
you can just disconnect. Because I think like to me like I was wearing the
Meta.
the Meta Ray-Bans, but the thing is, it's like that to me is like the LLM behind that. It would give me false
Horrible.
information. It just wasn't good.
Glitchy. I'm
It
like,
wasn't there yet.
aren't
It
you
wasn't there yet.
Meta?
They're cool glasses, but
Yeah.
they're.
Well, I will
I
say
like,
one of the
I like
reasons I
taking
got
pictures with them.
yeah, it's fun. One of the reasons I got an Aura ring over like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or whatever is because I wanted something that wasn't a screen to like look at and to have on me, but that still tracked, my steps and all of that. So that I think that's part of the incentive, and at least my decision, power is in this sort of like I want to feel disconnected, but still connect to technology and be aware of like my body and what's going on. So I think there's yeah,
Good
that's
perspective.
that's what I'm seeing.
I like the wearables to a certain degree. I think they could be helpful, but I just think look at what's trending, and like what's trending to me is like people are trying to spend less time on devices and things like that. So
For
uh,
sure.
Let's get back to human to
yeah,
human.
it's
So,
like you were just saying
what,
in the last segment. You were like, yeah, we're arguing about not arguing, but we're having a conversation about return office. You're hearing candidates, hey, I want to be around people. No, people, they don't want to be hooked up to devices 24/7. Especially now with the AI. Like I think people are just even more kind of conscious of that stuff. So
yeah, what do you guys think of the comments here? Was it a little quiet today? Wake up.
it's
Let's get
because
everyone
it's
chatting.
because yesterday was a holiday, and it's like
Oh, everyone's
people
back,
coming
and
back.
they're
Yeah,
busy doing their work
Hustle
instead of
and bustle.
paying attention to us. So let's keep the show going. I think we have a caller coming in.
Hello, Anna. Welcome to the HR Morning Show.
Hello, Danielle. Nice to meet you, and
So
thank you
nice to
for the
meet you.
call.
Yay, I'm so excited. Where are you calling in from?
I'm based in Warsaw, Poland, and
Very
it's
nice.
almost evening.
Wow. Well, I am honored that you're here. So thank you so much for joining us. Why don't we start off? I'm going to take a page out of the Pauses book, and can you tell us who you are and what you do best?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So actually, I'm representing Jubal, and Jubal is a global online job aggregator that makes easier for people to find employment opportunities all over the world. And I'm in charge of all HR function. I'm working as CHRO of Jubal.
Amazing. What so Jubal, can you tell me more about like the company, like when was it founded? What makes it different from, other competitors in the space? Tell me more.
Yeah, sure. Thank you that you are interested very much in it because actually what we do is that we enable and help people to find the job by aggregating the vacancies and matching actually the job seekers and the employers. So we are basically product IT company and we offer services in many languages in 67 countries by now. And actually, we are helping both job seekers to find the jobs and employers to connect the candidates. And we are one of the leaders of the market. And it's almost 20 years that the company was founded. And actually, it's a pretty big time that we are present. That's why it makes us very unique because we have a very broad and very deep expertise both in employers market, in job seekers and job advertising from one perspective, and another perspective, um, it won't be humble, but actually people say that we are having one of the most workplace cultures, and they actually like to join us as employees inside the Jubal because we treat people well, and that is
Love that.
That they are saying in our employee opinion surveys.
That's amazing. That's the best kind of feedback you could get. I'd love to dig into your culture. You're an HR leader. I love talking to practitioners. I'm curious, what it is that you think really sets you apart from other organizations, and what makes your leadership specifically different. And it's fine to be non-humble. It's fine to brag. We're bragging here, so it's a safe space. If there was kind of one thing or one specific type of practice that you bake into the way that you lead, what do you think sets you apart?
It's interesting because just today we had a session with our leadership team to update our leadership principles. So it's just going on.
Perfect.
Yeah. So Jubal is known with very strong culture because it has its own values for quite long time. So almost this 19 years that company is present, we were
Wow.
working based on the values, and it's not something that is written in our playbook. It's something that is living. Yeah, that's why we are working and updating everything day by day, and we're trying to work in agile mode. So I think it's something that, so the culture plus agile mode, the culture that we preach, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and agile mode is something that makes us unique for our employees and for the business that we possess. Because in today's fast-moving world, it's okay to have something stable, yes, because people needs clarity, but you need to move fast in order to close the gaps between talent market and between business demand.
100%. Yeah. And I think, to your point, it is such a fast market. I mean, not just technology, but the speed at which we were just talking about it. People are losing jobs, people are joining teams, there's a lot happening in the market. So I'd love to kind of narrow in on something that you've said in the past, which for HR leaders, hearing this term performance sprints. Can you
Yeah.
explain, like what that is and what problem it actually aims to solve?
Yeah, sure. And I would say that is actually one of the most hype things on the market, because business is always challenging HR with business impact. Yeah. So what is the business impact of the work?
Exactly.
How can you show that people are efficient, effective, that everything works fast? And the performance freeze is not an HR tool. Yeah, I would say is a test how alive, adult, and adaptive the organization really is. So, in very short version, is when you make your performance evaluation or performance management not like an special occasion once in a year, yeah, but you do it on an instant and the constant basis. So, for example, when you do not do more check-ins, or you do not do more micromanagement, or you do not do another form that you need to fill in, but it's when you have a short cycles of 2 6 weeks that are focused on priorities, on feed forward, not feedback, yeah, on
Mm.
something that you need to learn and develop, and that you can fastly implement to make the fast contribution. So, in other words, you can manage the organization not by special occasions, performance, annual reviews, but with these short sprints that are beneficial both for you as a leader to be on the spot of the news, yeah, for the team because it is transparent, people gets clarity, and for the business because you can be agile.
Sounds a lot more like how a product team or how a sales team might function. So I love
True.
that reframing. Can you can you tell me more about, what was that term? Not feedback, but feed forward?
Feed forward, yeah.
Okay,
Have you
so
heard
feed
about this before? No,
no, this is my first time. I love that
really.
term. Can you tell me more? Where does it come from?
Um, I'm not sure that I would tell you the author. Maybe it is a trend of last 5 years, but in a nutshell, it is that the feedback it's something that is talking about the past. So you analyze in a period, you are telling about what was good, what was bad, and you are making a reflection. But not always you can implement it further. For example, when you are talking with a person when 6 months has already passed, some occasions are not real, yeah, they are not applicable anymore. And feed forward concept is that when you are given not a feedback, when we are taking the conversation with a person, you are talking both what we need to do next in order to succeed better, in order to have better relations, better performance, better, I don't know, KPIs. So you are not focusing on the past. You are just coaching each other for the future. And in our today's fast moving speed world, it's, I would say, it gives you more space and more appreciation in the conversation, no matter whether it is about on one-on-ones or on team meeting, to be more efficient and to focus what really matters.
Yeah. I would also say, one of the pieces of feed forward that I give to any, HR people who want my 2 cents about how to lead Gen Z and the next generation, it's really about, setting the tone. What's the most important to both of you, right? Like, what are your common goals? And one of those shared goals is for said person, right, your managee, to improve, to not only within the team or within the organization, but within themselves, to help, you know, to prove themselves to their own feeling, or to help them progress in their career. I feel like that's one of the more important parts, and something that often gets overlooked, I feel, in management. But I'm curious to hear more from you about what the most common form of resistance is when it comes to organizations moving toward this performance sprint mentality or structure, and where is it in the priorities for 2026? Are more organizations moving in this direction?
One thing that I also recollected when we were talking about feed forward is that it's about intention, yeah? Because when we are talking about feedback, we are intended to think more about the past, to evaluate, and so on and so forth. When we are talking about feed forward, the intention is to set the common space, to set a trust, and the intention is to hear each other. Yeah. So finally, we want to make an agreement. Yeah. Not to see who is good or who is bad. Yeah.
Love that.
And actually, if we are talking moving to maybe obstacles, challenges of this agile sprint world, yeah, I would say,
Yes.
it's also that the intention. Actually, it's not very easy for managers, for leaders to shift their behavior from evaluating to coaching in the real time. And here is where I think HR are playing critical role, because we need so always managers used to postpone feedback in the shorts, even in the short cycles. Yeah, they turn sometimes feedback into status updates or something like that. And HRs here, they need to help managers to name expectations clearly, yeah, to step off this correction feedback and go into coaching, and to say that performance and I would say managing the organization in this agile sprint mode is not about filling the forms. Yes, it's not about reporting. It's about sitting in front of your peers, sitting in front of your team, and having this at least 15 minutes conversation about this, I don't know, 5-3 or 2 weeks past, and saying and asking the questions, giving honest feed forward what we are going to focus next, yes, and separate delivery issues from people issues. And this is, I would say, this mindset shift and behavior shift is maybe the main obstacle and challenge that I think we are tackling as an organization and as a, I would say, as leaders overall.
Beautifully said. Like, honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. I love that. I love that you're helping not only HR people to reframe, but also giving them the language to do so and more of a structure. So if people want to learn more about this performance style leadership, and more about you and more about what you do, where should they go?
Um, I'm not very much keen on giving links to books or to courses because I truly believe that experience sharing, mentoring is a core communities. Yeah. So I would
Love.
say that let's see each other in LinkedIn community. Yeah. In LinkedIn, you can join my page. Also, I would recommend to learn people more about Agile HR because Agile HR is also a practice the same that you have Agile as a product, as Scrum as methodology. And I would recommend also to see the things that I usually do in my career if I want to know something very much practical and understand deeply the scene, either it is hard skill or soft skill. I just look around, see the persons that I really interested in professionally or maybe in terms of network, and I just go and ask, please tell me how you did it, or please share your thoughts. Because in my opinion,
Exactly.
even this in this very fast moving world, you can start reading a book and in the week it would be not applicable. And it's not about the skills, it's about the information. And if you want to really have the skill, just find the person, uh, knock the door or knock the LinkedIn and say, okay, let's have a chat. Let's talk about Agile HR. And I want to have this shift in my company. What would you recommend? And that's it. Why not?
I love that. Cheers to reaching out to more people and having more of a community first mindset. I know that that is something on my mind as well for this year. So thank you so much, Anna, for joining us. And if you want to reach out to Anna, her door is open. So go to LinkedIn and find her on there. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
Who's the fella who lights up a room when he walks in the door? Evan White, with so many strong ideas, he's creative to the core. Evan White, cause he's been at it for 20 whole years with plenty to show for his illustrious career. So if you're looking to grow your brand, then Evan White is here. Cause talent tech is sure to take you very far. The HR tech space has a fresh face, and it'll make your brand a star. Spinning straw into gold and taking flight, you'll be soaring through the sky at incredible heights with Talent Tech PR from Evan White.
If that is not a bop, I don't know what is. I need to be waking up to this ad from Evan White, Talent Tech PR. You all know him. You love him. His name is Evan White. He works directly with HR tech founders, leaders, startups, scale ups, whatever size, to help them tell honest, relatable, relevant, compelling stories about why their products actually matter so that the market understands what the tech does and why they need it. So contact Evan White and Talent Tech PR for all of your PR, storytelling, marketing needs because he is truly a genius. And if you don't believe me, watch that again. That's all I'm going to say. Mic drop.
Jean, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for
So
having me.
I got to ask you a question. You're sitting on the sidelines there. What's your first take when you see that commercial for Evan White? I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's
But what's,
incredible. I mean, I'm
Does it
like,
draw you in? Like, do you want to be his
sign
friend
me
also?
up. Yeah, sign me up. Subscribe.
Well, awesome. Welcome, new friend. Welcome to the show. Where
Thank-
on this fine planet are we speaking today?
What was that?
Where on this fine planet am I speaking to you today?
Oh, from Marin County, which is just outside of San Francisco.
All right, so bright and early. Thank you for joining us on the show. And Danielle stole my opening line, so I'm going to use my own opening line here. Please tell us who you are and what you do best.
Okay. So I am a director of talent acquisition at Twitch, which is an Amazon subsidiary. I am a talent acquisition expert, mostly focused on tech. I've had the opportunity to work and support hiring for AWS, Amazon Web Services, Alexa, Starbucks, and now Twitch, which has been an incredible experience.
So I love your career journey. It's incredible. And I have so many questions to dig in, but just an overall general question and not specific to any of your current roles. We were talking a little earlier in the show today about this trend that we're seeing with surveys, especially when younger workers being quote unquote replaced by AI, or at least hiring managers and executives using AI as an excuse to let folks go. What's your take on that? Is this reality? Is this really happening out there?
I think it's, I think that's generally what corporations are saying. I think that they're trying to find redundancies. I think the redundancies mostly come from overhiring during
Mm-hmm.
COVID. And so they're just using AI as one of the metrics. I think that ultimately AI can create efficiencies versus actually replacing people, especially in recruiting. We saw this absolutely in recruiting where they thought that recruiting could be replaced by AI. And now we're seeing a huge uptick in companies coming back and really trying to hire people that know how to hire tech people. And
Right.
so I think that's a great resurgence to see in the market right now.
Oh, I completely agree. I think the word is calibration and recalibration. It's actually two words there, and especially when we talk about the younger workforce. I mean, my biggest fear is that they're going to try to replace these younger workforce, but then what you're going to have is an over index on middle management who's going to have to scale down or skill down to do some of the lower level jobs. And then there's going to be a huge gap there from a learning and management perspective. As everyone rises up to the top, there'll be no one more at the bottom.
Right, 100%. And I think obviously there's areas that are ripe for AI help, right? So like you can see even in customer service, when you call in to Alaska Airlines, I mean, the whole time was like 6 hours when I called in the other day. Like that's total madness. Maybe they can have AI bots help with some of that. But I think overall what you're seeing is not replacement, but more of how do we create efficiencies so that
Supplement.
can be more strategic.
I want to double back to sorry.
Generations can be more strategic in their work. Yeah,
Absolutely. I want to double back to talking about the use of AI in the recruitment process. I think with any new, it's shiny object syndrome, right? We think, oh my God, there's AI out there. How are we going to use it, for recruitment? And I think a lot of companies out there thought it was going to be the holy grail for efficiencies. And let's be real here, with so many good people that are out of work right now, combined with the AI technology from a candidate perspective, where we're flooding the pipelines, we need to have a technology that's going to help us sift through it. How to sift through the unqualified. And when I say unqualified, we're talking about applications that honestly, folks, are just not even anywhere near the realm of consideration. And we need to have tools for that. But to use those tools to give real recruiters more human time to connect with candidates. What are you seeing out there? What are you feeling? And if you're open to sharing, what are some of the tools you might be using over at Twitch?
So 1,000%. And I think there's, so in 2025, I brought in GEM, which GEM has AI in the tool, and it helps with this. So GEM has this ability to, you wake up in the morning and Twitch gets thousands of
I
hours.
can imagine.
On entry-level roles, it's just unbelievable, right? It's not even possible to go through all these people. So how do you bring up the top applicants, right, that exceed basic qualifications, at least meet them, and then have those kind of like desired skill sets that you're looking for? And it has this other piece, which one of the things is fake resumes.
Yeah.
Just absolutely
And
mind-blowing. And it actually verifies people's phone numbers. Now that is cool. That's like AI creating efficiency.
Let's talk about that for a moment there. And when we say fake resume, there's two camps here. One camp is actually just fraudulent resumes for whatever reason, wherever they're coming from, flooding the systems, like, programs trying to test if there's real jobs or trying to infiltrate, nefarious purposes, malintentions into the systems. And then let's be real, it's tough from a candidate perspective because you're trying to find every advantage possible for yourself. And you're utilizing these tools that try to match the job description and merge it with your resume. And you're really doing yourself a disservice out there, candidates, because if you don't have those skills, you're going to get smoked out in 2 seconds by a good recruiter. And you're setting yourself up for failure, and it's not good. So I always urge candidates to use the tools to, hey, these are the skills they're looking for. I have those skills, but maybe I'll use it to raise it in the hierarchy of my resume. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, 100%. So what you're seeing is a lot of those. So candidates will pay, especially entry-level candidates are paying for these tools to actually modify and just like spam your resumes everywhere.
It's terrible.
And so what I tell people, because one of the things I do on the side is like I coach people on their resumes, their LinkedIn, all the things. And what I tell people is one of the most important things you can do right now if you're looking for a job is to network. 100% network. So it's not just spamming your resume on every single position you see out there. Look at the company, look at the job description, look at your resume, see if you have the skills and it matches, and then check your LinkedIn network. Do you know anybody in your LinkedIn network that works at that company that would potentially refer you in? What NVIDIA says, and this is what a lot of tech companies are saying right now, is it's easier to get into Stanford than it is to get into NVIDIA because they have more applicants than you could ever dream.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And so how do you differentiate yourself?
Yeah, let's talk about that for a moment here. And when people throw around the word networking, folks, network doesn't mean just sending a blind connection request to somebody and say, I apply for this job, help me. What are some of the tools out there and strategies that you talk about, Jean, that you've seen effective in practice after doing this for over a decade?
So I would say, think of networking as like you're in your job, you love your job, you absolutely should be networking. Meaning, if a recruiter reaches out to you or somebody reaches out to you about a job or a connection, connect with that person, talk to that person, like have a coffee connect with them to understand what is it like to work in NVIDIA. And you see people moving around in the market, no matter where you are. Like you'll see people going, let's say you've got your top 10 list of companies, really start networking and connecting with people. You can do cold reach outs. I mean, it's not, I don't, tell people to not do that, but do it intentionally and say like, I really do want to learn about what it's like to work at NVIDIA. It's my dream company, that type of thing. So I think when you think about it, it's almost like entry-level sales, like setting yourself a goal of talking to 7 to 10 people per week. And maybe you go to a happy hour, right? You
put yourself out there.
Yeah, get yourself out there, force yourself to go to a happy hour and make 7 to 10 new connections.
I really think that we're getting back, everybody, wants to be the Jetsons, but we're going back to this Flintstone era where it really works of meeting people in person and going to networking events. I'm actually heading down to Florida tomorrow for an event for a new company that's bringing back in-person networking.
Yes.
And they're combining companies, they're bringing companies and curated companies and roles and curated candidates together in a room to have real conversations. How do you get in front of the hiring manager? And even if it's not the exact role, being able, a good recruiter at any company in-house will have their network. They're going to know who the good people are. They're going to have those people that, are memorable to them. So how do you make yourself memorable? And it also takes you out of your comfort. It's a good test and experience to get out of your comfort zone and talk about yourself and learn more.
And learn about what's happening in the market. So some of these events you go to, and I just learned so much more about even what startups are doing that are different, just all the stories that you can pick up and the connections are so important right now. And it's like one of the most important things you can do, even if you're very, very happy in your job.
Always be networking.
It's like brushing your teeth right now. You know what I mean?
Because
Like, I want you to think about it like to that degree.
what's going to happen, and actually I hate to say this, but what happens tomorrow when you get let go? It's a reduction in force, and you haven't done anything. You haven't made one connection. You haven't networked. Always be networking. You never know when you're going to need it, right? You always need to be out there. And, maybe you carve out, maybe it's on a Saturday morning. Maybe LinkedIn's not your thing. Maybe you don't have time during the day, but maybe on a Saturday morning over a cup of coffee, you just scroll through LinkedIn. You see what's happening out there. You start to look at who works at companies, from previous colleagues. Where are they now?
Yeah.
Reach out to them. Like, hey, do you remember we worked together a few years ago? How's it going over, at Twitch? I know your schedule's kind of crazy, but if you have 15 minutes, I'd love to just catch up with you and see what's going on. You're not going for the hard sell. You're not like sending them a job link.
Yes, 1000%. You have to start there and building off of that, because you'll find people went to so many different places in your network that you're like, oh my God, that is amazing. Like, they're working at OpenAI. I'd love to learn more about that. Like, you'll find people everywhere in many different companies that just would be interesting to learn more from.
So let's talk about the referrals for a moment here. And I want to make something very clear. And I would assume, like, most people aren't just going to take a blind request and forward you over to HR. And we're not even talking about, I want to make $1,000 referral fee. Most folks, let's be real about it, it's your reputation behind it. I'm just going to forward over a candidate that I don't know anything about with my name behind it.
Right.
Is that right?
Right. That's 100% right. But again, with the NVIDIA model, at least 35% of their hires are employee referrals. It may even be closer to 50%. So,
but what's the mechanism there? Is there reward based? Is it merit based? Like, how does that work? Like, how are they filtering out, and what's the incentive for an employee to refer a candidate?
So there is merit around it, but people at NVIDIA are very, very incentivized to bring more talent in
Good
that
people.
they verify and know are incredible. So it's easier to get into Stanford. So they believe that their employees are kind of one of those best vehicles for continuing to build NVIDIA and to keep their culture intact.
Yeah, when it's done right, an internal referral process, when done right and not compensated just monetarily, but with the thought being together we all rise. If we bring in good people, and this has to do a lot with equity and options, in a company too. Of course, I want to bring in the best people, because if this company does well, the equity of the stock price does well, and we all do well together. It's not just me getting a couple $1,000, referral. So let's shift gears a little bit. I want to touch on a couple of other topics that are really in your core part of expertise here. And I mean, how do you go from high volume hiring at Starbucks to technical recruiting at Amazon, Twitch? What is that methodology, and how did you have to shift as a recruiter and as a recruitment leader?
Yeah, so at Starbucks, I was focused on the technical hiring for them, which everybody's like, Starbucks hires technical people.
There is a back end to Starbucks. It's a giant corporation, right? There are technical roles people. It's not just baristas, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I joined, it was like they were outsourcing a lot of that and they wanted to insource it. And so, like, how do they do that? How do they, make sure that they're collecting code during interviews and doing the right things and doing that cadence? I would say the highest volume that I did was in AWS. I mean, that was a space where it was like we needed to hire hundreds and hundreds of engineers yesterday. And so, and I did the same thing at Twitch. It was like hire hundreds and hundreds of people, because during COVID was our busiest time. And so we needed to hire people as fast as possible in order to support the infrastructure, right? That was coming from everybody being trapped at home and everybody being on Twitch. So, but then it's like we saw this whole shift in the market and, layoffs and all these things. And so it's really like, how do you motivate your team during those times? Like, you have the high volume, everybody needs to be performing at the peak performance, down to, okay, we don't have any recs. What are we doing? Like, how do we stay ready for what's next? And I think that's one of the most important things you can do as a leader, is how do you lead during the highest volumes of time to the lowest volumes? And one of the things we did was helping people who had been impacted find roles inside of Amazon, which is total madness, right? Because
I can't even imagine the matrix organization that is.
Exactly. So how do you help them? How do you help them with their resumes, with networking, with finding the hiring manager, prepping for interviews? So that was one of the things how we pivoted to help with internal movement.
And I think that I'm sorry, not outsourcing, outplacement. Sorry, when you're getting let go of a company or you're moving on from it, what is that experience like? How do you feel leaving, that organization? Are they setting you up for success? Or are they literally throwing you out, on the street there? Are they empowering you? I always go back to my time at American Express. When I left there back in 2011, I was I took a buyout package. There was a change in management there. And I had literally like 7 weeks, I was just sitting around and they offered outplacement services and nobody was taking it. You still had to come to the office. You still had to be there. I might as well take advantage of it. And during that time, I worked with a great career coach and she taught me the art of the elevator pitch, which I've keep building on and I keep using and I talk about it all the time. How important it is to be able to succinctly tell your career story in 30 seconds because you might be in an elevator with somebody who you want to network with. How do you coach your candidates on how to present themselves with an elevator pitch?
I am like, you have to be really, really crisp. And I do the same exact thing where I'm like constantly building off of that. I use my executive coach to build on that to make sure I'm really crisp on who I am, what I'm doing. And I do take feedback. So, like, I think one of the things you can learn from your elevator pitch, again, even if you're not looking, you're happy as a clam in your role, you should take those interviews just to stay fresh on your elevator pitch because
100%.
you'll get feedback during the interviews. Like,
And a good recruiter will give feedback too. I do.
Yeah, for sure. And you might even get feedback from a hiring manager.
And it's batting practice too. And I always tell us to, you know what? If an opportunity comes your way, even if you're not looking, and an opportunity comes your way, you never know two things. You never know if that opportunity may be something that you weren't thinking about. And two, you might connect with that recruiter for other opportunities in the future. What is a 15, 30-minute call really going to cost you? Carve out that time during your day and take it. So, Jean, let's leave our audience here. I mean, I have so many things I could talk to you about for a long time, but I know you got to get going on your day here and start the day out on the West Coast. It's almost midday here over here in New York, but a lot of good people are out of work right now, and they are hitting the wall. They are stressed out. Money is running thin out there. Jobs are thin. I mean, is there any really solid, actionable advice that someone could take right now to make one small change today versus applying for hundreds of jobs and spamming? What's one practical tip you could share with our audience?
I go back to the networking thing. Like, get a spreadsheet out and like really write down, what have you done? What have you done this week? 7 to 10. I want you to make 7 to 10 really strong connections every week. And that's again going to a happy hour, connecting with people online, like asking people just not, can you refer me to a job, but also like, hey, I'd love to learn more about what's it like working at Stripe. Something like that. Like we said, going back into your network, finding people to reconnect with, 7 to 10 people per week. I want you to build off of that. That is something that is very, very effective.
I love it. Jean, thank you so much for joining us today. Where could folks find you? Where could they connect? Where could they learn more?
Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm an open networker. Always feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help anybody with resumes, with your LinkedIn. Like, I feel like it's something that I do just as a passion to help people.
I love it. Jean, thank you so much for joining us today, and I wish you a great day.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Morning, beautiful people. Today on the HR Weather, let's talk about performance bonuses. So Meta just threw a spotlight on something every HR pro has debated at one time. Should we stop handing out the same performance bonuses to everyone? And instead, let's try to reward the top performers. So Meta is rolling out a new program called Checkpoint that supposedly focuses on impacts and outcomes. Under this new system, employees who deliver truly exceptional impact could earn up to 300% of their base bonus. That's 3 times the standard payout for top performers. Those in lower tiers, well, they get way less. Meta's logic here is most people there are high performers, and they want their compensation strategy to reward those folks. Now, I know that the idea can be uncomfortable for some, especially in workplace where equality means everyone gets the same. But here's the reality: equal treatment isn't always the same as fair treatment. Top performers who kill it deserve way more than mediocre performers. And this trend isn't just at Meta, it's now at Amazon, Google, and a ton of others. And they're really shifting towards kind of like an output based evaluation system. So here's your HR weather forecast. Expect more organizations to rethink everyone gets the same policies, and they're going to tilt towards rewarding excellent. If we want to retain and motivate our real top talent, our reward systems should match their impact, not dilute it. That's your HR weather. Let's get back to the panel.
Yeah, more rewards.
Spicy.
So,
I like it.
yeah,
I like it because everything in hiring, it's about incentives as I understand it, and also when it comes to retention. And I think that it's kind of crazy to imagine a world that we actually live in, where everyone's evaluated by pretty similar metrics and
yeah,
standards and rewarded similarly when you have, like you're saying, top performers outperforming people next to them, but then still getting a pretty equal raise or
yeah.
pay bump, which I just think is kind of insane given how drastic it can be from person to person in terms of their work ethic, how much impact
Different.
they have on the team. I've just heard so many stories that I feel like this really makes sense.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's really disheartening
logical.
if you're a top performer, you're killing it, you're doing everything possible, getting the same bonus as someone who just shows up, does their 9 to 5, doesn't really bring anything additional to the
Where's
table.
the incentive?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why would I do that? Like, it's
To
It's
the
really
called
point where
employee
demotivating.
retention. You're gonna
you
lose
just
people.
you just go to another company. Like that becomes your only option at a certain point. You say, I've done everything I can and I feel like I'm still not being rewarded. I mean, I see this every day with friends of mine. Like, we're at this point where we've grown a lot and we have mastered, to a certain extent what we do, and then we're still not rewarded for it. And it's really disheartening. And I feel like, especially when you're watching, let's say you're new to a company and you're a high performer, you watch someone else who's been at the company for what, 1 to 2 years, they're a high performer. You see how the company treats them, and that's the
Yeah.
best example of how they're going to treat you. And so now
Hmm.
that this is being implemented, I think there's so much more incentive, not only for people to go work there, but for people to work even harder.
Yeah.
They know
So
they're
why
going to
do
be
you think
rewarded.
It's a
a lot of
meritocracy, people,
organizations, Adam, why do you think a lot of organizations just stick with everyone gets the same? Because
because they're factoring in from a financial perspective. I think sometimes it's just easier, right? Like they're already baking it into their comp, right?
yeah,
Like you're making $100,000, making $100,000 a year. Everyone's getting a 15% bonus. We already have it budgeted out. If you're not getting fired, everyone's getting the same bonus, and it's kind of lazy.
it's very lazy.
It's
I think
very
that's
lazy instead of being merit based, where you're getting, there should be levels within a bonus structure, right? Like if you're just doing what you're told, why should you get a bonus on top of that?
well, I kind of equate it to
I'd rather get a higher
participation.
salary, right?
Yeah, I would. I equate it to participation trophies.
Yes.
That like I have a 10-year-old that plays soccer, and they still get participation trophies, and
That
it's
cheesy metal,
absolutely
right?
the worst, right? Like the top teams, top performers should get an additional reward. Like it's
You
just
should
like,
get nothing if you don't get a place.
I agree.
The kids should learn. The kids should learn. It's funny. My son's doing like developmental basketball right now, but I missed the first game. I was away, and I was texting in the team thread. I'm like, oh, what was the score? What was the score? Like, we don't keep score. I'm like, well, how the kids gonna learn competition?
Oh, wow.
And then I
Yeah,
was talking to a couple of the parents about it. They're like, well, don't worry, next year they do. This is a year for them to learn. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna let it go this year. So
yeah.
it's the first year of this league, but like kids need to know score. My son was asking me, and then the kids keep their own score. The funny thing is, the kids keep their own score during the
They do.
game, and they know who won.
Yeah,
And then they talk
That's
smack
good.
to each other because they're all in the same schools.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
but
I agree. I think like definitely when we look at corporate culture, like we have to motivate our top performers because they drive the outcomes that we need. So let's pay them
And they
more.
set the example. And they said, and
Exactly.
you want to also have the carrot. I hate to say it, and it's going to come out the wrong way, but you need to have the carrot at the end of the stick. Right, I think there's an
True.
incentive. I think there is an incentive to it. Otherwise, you're just going to have everyone just doing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Incentives help unless it's baked in, or on the other side of it. On the other side of it is having a strong culture of, from an equity standpoint. Together we all kick ass and we all rise, because the better the company does, the better we all do. So
100%.
rewarding everyone with equity, right? The more we do there. So yeah, I mean, I think we're all on the same page here, right?
I will
Like,
say
that's-
that is pretty idealistic to reward with, because while I do agree with the philosophy of like we rise together, the reality
never
is
the case.
we live in an individualistic culture
Of course.
where people are underpaid given the market and given inflation, and I think at the end of the day, if everyone's being underpaid, it then becomes much more individualistic.
Right. And is it true?
So-
Like, I mean, I would say it's a lot of companies, like 20% of the people doing 80% of the work, right? Like there's people that
Exactly.
fall to the bottom,
Yeah, I mean, in an average team, I would probably estimate that that 80% of the people are leaders,
Well,
and 20% of the people actually get the work done.
right. It's almost like this podcast episode we have here right now, where Joel has left us and he's the bottom 20%, and we're left doing 80% of the work. But we brought on Serge to wrap this one up. Serge, what else is happening in your world? Where are you traveling to next? When are we going to get the gang back together? Is it going to be
No.
Vegas? Is it going to be Vegas?
Yeah, it's going to be at least Vegas. It's going to be Unleash. Probably
I'll be there.
Transform as well.
be there.
I'll be at both. I'll be at both.
You'll be
Yeah.
at both.
Yeah,
I am
I'm
jealous.
going to be in
I'm going-
Vegas for 12. I'm going to be in Vegas for 12 days. I'm trying to plan that weekend in between to stay out on the West Coast anywhere but Vegas, because I can't stay in
Yeah.
Vegas for 12 days. It'll
So
just
Adam, you traveled last year, obvious
Yeah.
reasons. Like, did you miss it? Like, are you excited about traveling a lot this year?
I'm excited to get back on the road. I did miss it a lot last year. I miss being in
you?
front of people. I miss the connection of it. I'm hitting the road tomorrow. I'm back I'm literally on the road every other week through the end of March,
Wow.
with a little bit of a break in February for a few weeks. It is tough on the home front, but my family, my kids, they understand that when Daddy's out there, he's doing his thing and opening up opportunities and monetizing the business that we're in. And I'm just excited to get the pause back on the road and rejuvenated, refreshed, and re-energized, and so many new things to share with folks out there. And I just want to see the gang.
Yeah.
Love that.
I
Yeah.
think that's the best part, right? Like, is getting together, the connection, the human connection side of it. I'll be frank. Like, I traveled a lot last year. I'm going to travel less this year, and I think I need it in a lot of ways. I think I need to take a step back, but I think the thing I will miss the most is the human connections, the
Right.
time that we spend together at Purple Acorn. But like all our friends in the industry, I'm going to miss that, but I do feel I need to take a step back.
Well, you do, right? Because you need to find balance, and it's also about intentions when you're traveling and not saying yes to everything, and making sure that there's a real ROI to that experience. Listen, if you're going to take me
Totally.
away from not just my family, but take me away from my everyday work, where now I have to balance the travel and still getting my day-to-day work done. It's got to be worth it for the events
Agreed.
that we do there. So listen, folks, we want to hopefully see everyone out on the road. You could catch us all. We're going to be all over the place. I'm going to be in Miami this Thursday. I'm going to share a link later to this event, Connected Ad, in downtown Miami this Thursday. And then Joel and I will be in San Diego at TA Week. I think some other folks are going to be at Evolve. Some folks are going to be over at Talent Collective. There's a bunch of conferences coming on before we hit the Vegas gauntlet of Unleash and Transform, where most of us will be there for a long time in Las Vegas. You know the deal. You know where to find us. You can find us every Tuesday morning here live. We are a podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We're anywhere you can find us. But be sure to connect with us and follow us on Purple Acorn on LinkedIn. Danielle, any closing words before we wrap it?
Be kind to yourself and be great to others.
Be good to yourself and be better to others.
There we go.
Love it.
Even
Love it.
better.
Well, on behalf of Joel, Serge, Danielle, and I, thank you for joining us and spending your morning with us on the HR Morning Show. We are out, and we will catch you next Tuesday morning. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.